Hey guys, it's Lori. Listen, I want to talk about a really serious subject today. Addiction. There are addictions to all kinds of things. We have addiction to gambling, to pornography, to alcohol, the legal drug, right? The legal monster. Um, uh, benzos, which is like Xanax or that kind of drug in that drug family. There's addictions to all different kinds of drugs. I want to focus mainly on opiates today because we have an opiate epidemic. And I know benzos are really bad physically to withdraw from. I have never experienced that. I have heard that it's a real nightmare. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. I don't have any experience there. And let me preface this whole thing by saying I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I do not have I'm not a medical. I'm not licensed. I'm not educated. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not educated. I'm not formally educated on the subject. I suffered illness many years ago. It started. Doctors at that time were prescribing opiates like candy. I remember a time when I was on hydrocodone, oxycodone, fentanyl patches. The doctors, and they would give them like all at the same time because you would take like, say, your Percocets or your Oxycontin before they got rid of Oxycontin. And then for breakthrough pain, they would give you your hydrocodone. Vicodin goes up to so many milligrams, and then after that, it's called, I can't remember what they call them now. It's been so many years. Norcos, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Big pharmaceutical companies made a killing off this. Doctors were writing it. I think in the beginning, doctors were just uneducated. They didn't know. They knew that people were getting results from this. Do you know that at one time in our history, what is it called? Ecstasy was legal. It was a legal drug. Doctors were prescribing it. They thought it was the miracle drug for depression because it would bring people way up, way up, way up. And these people were like, they were getting their lives together. They were doing well. And then come to find out, the disaster it is, as with any drug, your body becomes immune to it, dependent upon it, and you need more to have the same effect. And what was happening is no matter if they gave them more, it did not ever have the same effect again. So they had to take it off the market. And just as they always do, they take it off the market, leaving these patients with nothing. Oh, geez, we're sorry, made a mistake, sorry. And all these people were really killing themselves, going out of control. Then, of course, as you know, ecstasy hit the streets, okay? I know the heroin's been around a long time, but the opiate epidemic came, I believe, from pharmaceutical companies. And then we have these rehabs that start popping up all over the place. And 99% of these rehabs are useless. There, I said it, useless, okay? AA and NA don't have a very good track record. They did when they were initially created, because when they were initially created, they were different. They were actually God-based. And now they're higher power-based, and they don't have the same track record. And you can look that up. That's true. There are other programs. I know there's one here in Manchester where they're teaching a philosophy that is New Age, and yeah, it may help a lot of people initially, but I just think you can't cram New Age stuff down somebody's throat. And they do it in such a way that at the same time they're writing them a prescription for Suboxone, or methadone, by the way, made from the same pharmaceutical companies that make some of these opiates that started the whole process to begin with. Okay, and then a lot of people went on, maybe they're stealing pills from mom's cabinet, painkillers or whatever, and then they move on to heroin. Some of the people that the doctors all of a sudden, because now the DEA jumps in, they don't care about people's health or addictions. They tell the doctors not to write them anymore, stop putting these doctors under investigation. So the doctors just stop people, again, leads to heroin addiction. I myself have never tried heroin in my life, but I did have an opiate addiction. Not many people know that. And by the grace of God, I was able to break that. And I broke it cold turkey. So, yeah, that was hell. Okay, but anyway, then we've got all these, we just got here in the place I live, we got like $1.5 million or something like that grant. You know what happened? All these places go up, and let me tell you, they don't, not all, I mean, if you're serious about your addiction, it's going to work because you're going to work it. But some people are so sick in their addiction. Okay, let me tell you what happens with, and I know what happens with benzos too, but I don't know about that, so I can't talk about that. But there is a physical reaction to opiate addiction, okay, or dependence, because there's a difference between dependence and addiction, and this needs to be told to a lot of those so-called experts out there that argue. Some doctors know this, and hooray for them. They should be speaking out more. Your body will become dependent on something that you use regularly. An opiate that's used as prescribed, your body will still become dependent on. Coffee in the morning, your body will become dependent on. Cigarettes, whatever. The difference between an addiction and a dependence is the mindset, okay? It's the mindset, it's the way of thinking, it's the behaviors. The addiction, just as any addiction with porn or whatever, will lead you to do things. It's a mindset, it's a different mindset, it's a way of thinking. It's the drug come first, the high, you're looking for that high, this and that. Dependence is dependence. Your body's dependent on it, so you get sick when you don't have it. It doesn't mean that, I mean, yes, some people will still do stuff that they maybe wouldn't have done, but it's not the same thing. They're not looking for a high. They're not looking for a release or an escape from reality. They're not trying to cover a hurt. They're trying to cover physical pain. Okay, so that's the difference. But anyway, and just like with coffee, if you're addicted to caffeine, you don't have your caffeine, you get a caffeine headache. Have you ever had one of those? So you're gonna want that coffee. You're going to do what you have to do to get that coffee to relieve the physical pain. So what happens with opiate addiction is there's endorphins in our brain, and it kind of cuts off those receptors. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to ask a medical doctor, but I know that it messes with those. And if you use them long enough, your body actually stops making them the way that it should. Your brain just stops doing it and depends on the outside source to have it done. So when you stop taking them, you go through the physical withdrawals, which will eventually end. I can't tell you exactly how long. I know it feels like forever. It's quite a while, though. It's quite a while, because even after the, say, initial 4 days and the worst is over, and then goes into 2 weeks, maybe a month or two, I mean, depending on how long you use. But it will eventually go away. But then there's something called opiate depression. And the reason that happens, it's real, it's physical. It's not just you're missing getting high, because you know what? I didn't get high off them. I took them as prescribed. I took them for pain. I didn't get high off them. So that takes out that aspect. It's not about, oh, I can't get high. It's a depression because your brain is not making those endorphins. We need those. That's the way we've been created, to be happy, to be at peace, to be physically happy. We need to make those endorphins. So then, it's doctors are making like 10 grand a day writing prescriptions for Suboxone or methadone. You have people going to methadone clinics and taking their little cup of stuff every day. But you know what? It's all about money, because if you don't have your 20, 25 bucks, whatever it is a day for your little dose, they're going to send you away. And they don't care if you go out and use. They know that you're going to. They don't care. They're going to penalize you with another fee or kick you out of the clinic, and then you got to start all over again at a ridiculous price. And their answer to that is, well, you had the money to get your heroin. You had your money to get your opiates. These people need to get a grip. We have a problem here. People are dying. So anyway, another thing I wanted to bring up, and this is very, very important, okay? And you can look all this stuff up. It's true. I don't have the scientific facts or numbers, but all of this is true. There's something called kratom. It's a plant. It comes from Indonesia. It works well with, I only tried it once or twice because, like I said, I kicked it cold turkey. But I know other people that I actually tested. I did my own little quote unquote like research just with so many people, 10 people, I think. And the results were great. I've researched it. The results seem great. The government says there's, it's not FDA approved. It's bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. So far, we found that it doesn't appear to be addictive any more than a cup of coffee would be. It's certainly not anything like opiates or Suboxone or methadone. You're not going to get that sick. Like I said, you might feel like a headache or whatever if you were unable to get it. They tried to ban it. The government did, but petitions came up and it is not banned. It's still available. It is a natural herb. So check it out if you can. It's called kratom or kratom or however you say it. It's Kratom. So check that out. But my biggest beef today is somebody who goes to jail, okay? So they're in jail. And I actually have a son who fell to this hard. He fell hard. I thought I was going to lose him. And I feel as if the Lord literally picked him up, literally took his big hand of God, picked him up and placed him in jail to save his life. And I am so grateful for that. Right now he's in jail against his constitutional rights, and I'm not going to get into that. But he is. And it's all because I don't have tens of thousands of dollars to get him out. Because this is all about money. My son didn't hurt anybody. My son has no violent, he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's still awaiting trial. It comes down to a vacuum cleaner, honest to God. And he never hurt anybody, never threatened anybody. He never was violent, never even accused of any of these things. I'm very stressed out about this. It all comes down to money. People in the United States, it's not about race, it's about money, okay? It's about money. And if you're living a middle-class life and you've got a spouse, which, sometimes I really wish I had one, but for the wrong reasons, because more security. If if you're not worried about putting food on the table, paying the rent, driving the car, if you are middle class and none of this stuff has ever befallen you, be grateful. And if you were at a level where you could pay to get somebody out of jail or whatever, you wouldn't have to deal with this either. By the grace of God, be grateful for that, people. If you have family, I don't have family, I only have my children, or good friends, be grateful for that. Because what happens is somebody ends up sitting in jail for months until they decide to give them a trial, because now we have something called felonies first, and it takes forever to get anybody even to the first hearing to their constitutional speedy trial. But anyway, my whole point is, I'm sorry for rambling about this. When somebody's that addicted to opiates, and my son's habit was up to sometimes $600 a day, okay? Like I said, God saved his life. I'm so grateful he did not end up dying over this and overdosing. My son's a good kid, too. People that know us and know him, I know I'm biased, I'm his mother, but I'll tell you, if my kids do wrong, I'm the first person to get all over their crap and tell, I'm not going to defend them. Certainly not. I'll love them, but I'm not going to defend bad behavior. But my son's a really good kid. He just got caught up with the devil. Drugs, addiction, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, it's the devil. It's the devil incarnate. It'll get you, and it got him. So anyway, the judge says, you know what? Okay, your mother doesn't have $1 million. I'm exaggerating. It turns out to be like $11,500. Your mother doesn't have that. If you can get into a rehab, we'll consider some other bail, okay? But get into the rehab first. So he's calling around and he gets approved for not one, not two, but 3 of them. And guess what happened? Because he didn't get even his arraignment till he had been in jail for quite some time. By the time he called these rehabs, he had been in jail for more than 30 days. And according to these wonderful rehabs who only care about people, not only do they want thousands of dollars, which I would try to get a loan to come up with or whatever. Oh, you haven't used in over 30 days? Oh, okay, never mind, we can't take you. That's where the opiate depression comes in. Now, if my son hangs himself while he's in jail because he's suffering opiate depression, and even to see somebody in the jail takes forever, then you got to pay for it, and then now we're probably not going to give you anything or take you seriously because we think you're just trying to get high. This is how people die, people. Okay? It's a serious problem. Anyway, if you are addicted to anything and you need someone to talk to without judgment, and you need some direction or guidance, I am a life coach and a health coach as well. I can give you some tips on some things that you could do to make you feel better while you're not using the drug, and try or at least research kratom, however you say it, Kratom. And please, I'm in New Hampshire, write letters to the governor, please, about the jail system and the addiction and how it works and how it's not fair, and how, my son's not the only one suffering. Kristen Nunu, the governor. Guys, have a good day. Talk to you soon. See you in the next video.